Hey guys, Thad
And Grayson?
here for Iowa Budget RC Bashers, and today we're gonna start on the Sonic Thunder Turbo. Little reason why I got this truck. So back in 1989, when I asked for a monster truck for Christmas, this is actually the truck that I asked for. And my brother talked my mom and dad into actually going to the hobby shop and getting a for real QD Midnight Pumpkin. He really didn't know anything about RC cars, but he knew that the Tamiya one would be slightly better than the Radio Shack one. He was correct. But there's certain things about these Radio Shack trucks, in my opinion, that are better than the Tamiya version. One being the transmission and the way the differential is set up in there. The Radio Shack ones don't tend to break, and the we know what happens to the pumpkin ones because you watched my videos on fixing it. If not, go back and look at the gearbox restoration videos of the pumpkin. But yeah, so we're gonna start here by ripping out all the stock electronics here, or as much as we can of the stock electronics for tonight's video, and I'm going to let Grayson do some of it. So without further ado, we're gonna switch spots here, and Grayson's gonna start taking screws out. All right, so first thing he's gonna do, of course, is take the body off. These bodies are held on by one screw, and then there's a tab here on the front that slides up underneath. So you just, after you get your screw out, you just lift up the back of the body, and that screw probably won't come all the way out, Gray.
Nope. But
You gotta make sure you get your flag tip going through the hole. See, one of the reasons they called these things Sonic Thunders is because they had this little speaker in here and little noisemaker built into the electronics. So that's also going to be some stuff we rip out of there.
you want me to take this off?
Go ahead and take that cover off, and then we'll also take the speaker off. Speaker actually looks in good shape, so maybe snip the wires right here with the blue handled snippers there.
Okay, I'll do that in a second.
Might be able to use that for a mini amp or something at the guitar shop.
Maybe one of those jam jars.
Yeah. By the way, I figured out what was wrong with the bumper.
What happened?
Well, see that little slot right there in the front?
Yeah.
There's a tab on the inside of the bumper that needs to go in there, and then you put the screws in from the bottom. Whoever owned this before us must have taken the body off, or the bumper off, and didn't put it on correctly.
So there
is the stock ESC setup, and
these.
yeah, we're just gonna start ripping all of that out. Nope, cut them farther down. There you go. Snippety.
Then do you want me to unscrew this?
Yeah, you can unscrew that if you want.
You know, I've learned quite a bit from watching. And
From watching me, or watching videos on
watching you.
YouTube, or what?
Watching you, because I only really watch you from the videos that we make.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're learning something. That's why I'm doing this and letting you do this. I had to kind of learn on my own when I was your age, and when my grandpa helped me a little bit and my brother helped me a little bit, but it was mostly me that did it.
Okay.
So that little speaker should, but it doesn't, lift right out of there. It looks like it might be hot glued in there or something, I don't know. But that's beside the point. Let's get the ESC stuff ripped out of there. You should just be able to lift up on that, or there might be two screws that hold it in. Some of them have two screws, some of them don't. That's a good heavy duty switch. We'll keep that around.
How do you get this out?
Should be, couple screws holding it in. I don't see. This one's a little bit different than the other ones, so I'm gonna stop the camera and we'll figure that out. All right, what do you got going on here, Grayson?
Found the problem. There's two screws right here. There's one right here, if you can see that, and one right here.
Yep. So we might even have to bust out the little screwdrivers, the precision screwdrivers. I don't know, but
nope. I gotta make 3 different piles of screws so then I don't get them all mixed up.
now that whole
Do you want me
unit
to cut
should
these?
lift out of there. We can cut those. That's the motor wires, and we can cut them right here at the circuit board. So right there and right there. And I see a nice thing that they did. They actually put a little bit of glue or something on there to hold the motor wires in place after they soldered them. These are the servo wires here, bud, and we can go ahead and cut these too.
This needs to come out.
The charging whirler. Go ahead and cut your servo wires right here.
Then this yellow wire right here at the circuit
Yeah,
board.
you can cut it right there on the circuit board.
And then this.
Whatever wires are connecting it, and then we'll deal with getting the wires out of there. Those are the battery wires, so it's not like we're going to use those, but go ahead and cut them just for the time being so we can get that out of there.
Yep. Got the
Alright,
circuit
so let me
board.
see that for a minute.
Doesn't look like anything's blown out.
So all that circuitry, all those capacitors, resistors, chips, whatever, have all been replaced by that and a little receiver, which we all know what a receiver looks like, just like one of those. But yeah, it's amazing how far technology has come. And even back, when I was doing this 30 years ago, the Tamiya stuff was all mechanical speed controls and whatever, and it's all now tiny electronic stuff. And it's just amazing how far technology has come. So now, Gray, we can you can go ahead and clip the wires as close down there as you want to for the battery wires, because we're not going to use those. And just get all of that stuff out of the way.
I'm gonna use.
Yeah, you can use the body scissors, that's fine.
They're angled, so then they help. There we go.
Alright.
Now we got
So
that
now
out, the
we got that
switch.
out. I'm going to keep the switch, but I probably won't do anything with the charging port. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Now we're going to try and get this speaker off of here without destroying it if possible. If not, no big deal. And then we'll flip it over and see about getting the servo out and what do we got to do for that. I know one thing we're going to have to do is kind of clean things up inside the tub here and get rid of, watch your hand, Gray, get rid of like these little posts and stuff so we got room for things, but yeah. So the Sonic Thunder, the chassis is pretty much completely different front and rear than the Pumpkins and the other Radio Shack trucks, and like it's got this big bulkhead here that the speaker went on, and same type of suspension, whatever. But yeah, just weird differences between the two types of vehicles: the Radio Shack version and the Tamiya version, and then the other Radio Shack versions. So just wanted to show that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to flip this baby over, and I'm going to go ahead and take off the bottom axle cover and see about getting the servo out of there. Alright, so we're taking the front end apart here. I'm taking the bumper off.
And also later on we're gonna switch these tires.
Yep, that's going to be a
big flat spot.
another job, and it's too bad because these tires are in like mint shape too.
Yeah, but the Pumpkins, those are dry rotted. These aren't just, they have big flat spots.
So see, just like that, I fixed the bumper and now it's nice and solid. And so now I can put those screws back in and then I'll take the front end off. Go ahead and stop it. All right, so got the bumper back on in its spot where it's supposed to be. And the reason why I did that was because the bumper holds the whole suspension in there from coming out. I don't really want to take the whole front end out because it's not necessary for what we're doing.
And we're going to use the same servo that we used in my crawler.
Correct, and the same one that I put back in the pumpkin also after failures of 2 green ones.
Yeah.
As you guys saw in my short, don't buy those. They're not good. Let's see here. There we go. Just needed a little persuasion.
Uh-oh. It's not coming out now.
It will. As I said, it just needs a little persuasion. Okay, that's all it needed. So, there we go. And as you can see, it is the same but different than the pumpkin. And so now what we've got to do is pull all this servo stuff out of here. And I do have a QD pumpkin servo saver if I need it. Or we can try and make this work if we need to, whatever. But first things first, we got to pull it all out of there. So take the tie rods, and this is always a pain in the butt to do with these Tamiya style with the hooks. Alright, so we got those. And theoretically, I should, well, I think I'm going to actually have to pull this off of here. I think. Maybe. Yeah. So that has to pop off of there. That would normally sit like that. And then this little detent right here is what gives you your steering trim and turns it left or right as you need it. There's a little notch in there. And so theoretically, if we pull this out, we should be able to pop that servo out of there. You see this? That's your steering right there. So when you hear these things click, that's what you're actually hearing. And that little T right there, or I, whatever you would want to call it, would ride in there and just bloop, 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 and switch it back and forth. But now we should be able to grab onto this and yank her out of there. And see, this one's a little bit different as to where it's got the motor that sticks up, but this should all work for our purposes. So we'll bring you back when we get the servo out and figure out what we're going to do here. All right, so the servo's in there. I cut the little mounting tabs off because they get in the way. Now, one thing we're going to have to do here is do something about this, because on this one there's side-to-side movement. So we're going to have to stuff something in there to make it solid, and I will find some foam or something to stick in there to keep it solid, and then I'll get out the servo saver and we will get all that hooked up. Alright, so what we've got here is an original Tamiya part made by MRC with the servo saver servo mechanism here. It will replace that, and then just all I got to do is use screw for the servo. And speaking of the servo, what I did was, this is high density foam that I cut and put in there, and that should hold that servo just fine from moving around in there, and protect it from vibration at the same time. So this is all going to work out just perfectly. Alright, so we got the servo arm on there, and I've got some Loctite here, and that is way too much, and I'm not going to quote Vice Grip Garage on this one where he says way too much perfect, because that was just entirely way too much. But put the screw down in there. I'm going to kind of hold the servo the servo arm from moving as I'm screwing this down. And there we go. So now when we put the tie rod ends on there and put the front end back together, if we hook that up to a receiver right now, it would work. We are not going to get that far tonight, but I do want to get this front end wrapped up. I forgot one key component. I need a washer underneath of that screw, because otherwise this could just pop off like that, and the washer will hold it on. So back off it comes. Alright, so what I actually did was I had a screw with a washer built into it that was the same thread, and so I just used that. Alright, so while we got this front end apart, it's just going to make it that much easier to change the wheels. And if you look at those wheels, and I just dropped the tie rod in on the floor, but that's okay, we'll pick it up. Anyway, if you look at these wheels, they are 100% Tamiya style wheels. Look identical to the yellow plastic ones of the pumpkin. The spindle's exactly the same, except that you cannot, they have a rivet going in this way that is swedged into the spindle, versus the pumpkin that has a stud sticking out to where you can take the wheel off. So now I didn't pay attention to which way this came off. So this one's gonna go like this, because remember, monster truck tires are directional, Grayson. So I'm gonna do one here, or do two of them, or do one on the front, and Grayson's gonna do the other front. It's kind of a pain to manipulate it around here and get it to go in there, and then you got to pull around on this side, stretch it back over. I don't know how many Blackfoot and Midnight Pumpkin tires that I've done this to over the years, but there we go. We've got our tire for this side, so that looks so much better than this flat spotted tire, and we're gonna see what we can do to pull these flat spots out of these tires, because I would like to put a set of these on one of the other Radio Shack trucks. But I don't know, the sidewalls are kind of dry rotted, as you can see it kind of making little dimples and stuff. But yeah, it would work good enough for one of those little Radio Shack trucks that are identical to this, if we can get the flat spot out. Alright, Gray's gonna take his turn. It's easier if you do it over the bench, bud. There you go, pull it all off that lip. And then you got to pull the front lip off also. Now pull the front lip off. There you go, now pop it through. Now, set it up there, make sure you're going to get it to go in the right direction. We could have used a little bit of like dish soap to do this. Yeah, get your front lip on first, and then pull your back lip over. You're gonna have to seat half of it, and then work your thumbs around the outside. So see how this lip fits inside of that right there? Mm-hmm. So get half of it sitting in the lip, All right, I'm gonna have to pause it and give him a little hand here. Okay, so that front one was kind of a pain in the butt to get in there. I just stretch that over and get that lip in the bead on the tire into the lip.
If I can.
Your little fingers not as strong as Dad's. Don't use a spoon, any screwdriver or anything. You'll screw them up. Pull it out. Nope, you can't do it, can you? All right, well here, trade me. You take the camera and I'll do it again. So you pull it and get that lip started and just kind of go around like so. You've never really seen a tire machine work at a car place, have you? Yeah, see, but anyway, yeah, so now we got our new tires for the front, and we can finish putting this thing back together. Okay, so that front one was kind of a pain in the butt to get in there. I just stretch that over and get that lip in the bead on the tire into the lip.
If I can.
Your pull it out. Nope, you can't do it, can you? All right, well here, trade me. You take the camera and I'll do it again. So you pull it and get that lip started and just kind of go around like so. You've never really seen a tire machine work at a car place, have you? Yeah, see, but anyway, yeah, so now we got our new tires for the front, and we can finish putting this thing back together. All right, well, me and G-Man got this thing back together, got the tires on it, and I think Grayson learned a little bit here tonight, and that was my goal. So now the next step will be putting all the electronics in here, and I didn't get the servo wire routed through the proper hole, so I'll get that done. But the electronics mods are going to be in a different video, so anyway, we're calling that an episode. Thanks for watching. I'm Thad.
I'm Grayson.
For Iowa Budget RC Bashers. Have a great day.